Hi, this is Joe Jasper, another Topaz Studio quick edit. This one, the same sailing ship I used for a watercolor in a previous post, but this time I want to make it into a vintage look, like an old photograph. So the first thing I'm going to do is just use plain old adjustment tool to black and white. This is one of the purchased items. I'm going to get a little more contrast in here by bringing my blues down, maybe my aquas some, and possibly change some of these other settings to give some more light in the sails. And then I can scroll down to the brightness and details is kind of like contrast or clarity. Brightness if we need to. That looks pretty good. So I like to apply that and get a new layer. And then I'm going to go down to a vintage look, and all I have to do is come over to the effects panel and type the word vintage, and we get a bunch of these types of things. And I know one of the ones I like is down lower, so scroll down until I find the one I want. Time-worn memory looks good, and so I'm going to take the opacity of that down because I am going to use a second texture later. So I just want to get kind of the graininess and unevenness of the emulsion that look that this has. And again, I'm going to say OK, or apply, excuse me. And then after that, I'd like to put on this texture that I have, but instead of just applying it as a texture, because I want to have a little more control over this, I'm going to apply that one as an image. So this is one I found on the internet. I like it with the delaminating peel back here and some of this worn off lamina of the cardstock. And I'm going to change the blending mode to something like overlay, soft light, or multiply are a number of the choices. And let's try overlay. And then what we can do is tweak that a little bit by coming into basic adjustments, maybe taking down the amount of color that came with it. And I'm going to apply yet another texture on top of this, I think. So I'm not going to worry about that color too much. I want to get mostly my effect in here. And just say OK. I think I'm going to drop my signature on that next. And I'm going to change that to lighten. Oh, screen or lighten, either one will work pretty well. But lighten, and I'm going to take the opacity down. And click apply, and then I'm going to go up here and type sepia, and find a sepia that I like maybe this first one, John Sepia, whoever John is, thank you. And that looks pretty good, and as you see, putting that last layer over also includes the signature, so it looks a little more vintage as well. And that's all we have to it, so then we can just save that as needed.